Hi, I'm the Naked Fairy, and you will have to excuse if there's a bit of coughing today because I seem to have a frog that has taken residence in my throat, but I wanted to talk to you about something that is kind of relevant for me right now, and I think it's very important. And it's simply this. When things happen, when things affect you, when you have feelings about them, when they cause an emotional response, it's usually not about you. I don't know if you can hear it right now, but right now there is a lot of sirens going off. And those fire trucks, they don't care that I'm recording right now. They're not doing it because I'm recording. They're simply doing whatever they do. They're answering an alarm and they're doing their job. And it's just a side effect that it's impacting my recording right now. Now, that's a very neutral example and everyone goes, well, duh, of course. It's not so easy when people are involved. We had an incident today. We live in a small town near Los Angeles, and we love it here. Probably full of the nicest people we've ever known. And I say known kind of tongue-in-cheek because most of them we don't know, but people we encounter in the stores, in our neighborhood, in the parks. People are just friendly, they're polite, they're nice. And we live literally a house away from this enormous park that the city built as a place residents could go and improve their health. Now I have to tell you that my town loves their parks. Whoever is in charge of Parks and Recreation here, man, they love their parks. We have fabulous parks. We have the community center and duck pond near us that's just, it's amazing, and I love to go there and picnic with my daughter. There's a skateboard park that is nearly always full of kids on afternoons skateboarding. Even the small parks around municipal buildings are well tended and well loved, and always have lots of people there. But this park by us, it's a health park. It's huge. It is absolutely huge. And it gets a lot of use. Community groups use it for athletic events such as playing soccer with kids of all ages. Last night when I went out for a walk with my husband, there was a group doing football moves at one end. There was a soccer group at one end, and there was another group, I didn't even notice what they were doing, but it was another organized type game that wasn't soccer. It has a running track. It has a perimeter around the outside that you can ride a bike on. It has special areas for doing fitness stuff that's actually kind of like the running track in that it's very friendly toward your feet. The AstroTurf in the middle is so incredible. It's amazing. I just can't say enough nice things about this park and the city that has not only built it to start with, but maintains it very well. But this park has something I'd never seen anywhere else before, and that is what looks like playground equipment from a distance, but when you get up close, you realize that it is exercise equipment. Very innovative design that uses your own body weight for the resistance training. And you can work nearly every body part there. And so I went out with my daughter today to do some upper body stuff, shoulders and chest workout. And on our way back to the gate by our house, this is a huge park. There's about 6 different entry points. But the one by our house is the one stand of trees in the corner that produces a very tiny bit of shade. And I kind of noticed that there was a guy on a bike over there, probably 20-something guy on a bike, but really didn't pay much attention to him. As my daughter and I looked over there and debated, did we want to sit in the shade for a while, or did we just want to go on home? And eventually we decided to go on home because breakfast was not enough meal for me to do that kind of workout. And so I needed to get my blood sugar back up. And so as we're walking by, I realized that this guy's talking to himself. And I didn't think anything of it because, well, you know, People often have earbuds that they're either singing to or they're on the phone with someone, and people also talk to themselves. And didn't think anything of it until I was nearly even with him, and he was saying, I see how it is. Don't want to come near me, or what's wrong with me? Why are you staring at me? And I realized that he thought we had been talking about him, that we'd been dissing him. And I just looked over and I said, I'm sorry, we were just debating whether to go sit in the shade there or not, or just to go on home. That's all. And he goes, oh, I'm sorry, it's okay, I'll leave. And I went, no biggie, we already decided we were going to head on home. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry. Now see, here's the thing. He didn't have to assume we were talking about him, because we weren't. It had nothing to do with him. But he did. He was having all these feelings and all these reactions because he thought it was about him, but it wasn't. And I could have reacted by feeling guilty that I made him feel bad. But his reaction really wasn't about me. It came from inside of him. Now this is really, really an important thing. When you are assaulted, beaten, raped, traumatized, been part of a traumatic event such as a hurricane, or you've been in a war zone, the younger you are, the more screwed up your emotions are about it. And the more likely you are to make things personal that really aren't. Here's the thing. Objectively speaking, my cousin did not do all those horrible things to me because I was a bad person. He did it because I was the smallest and the weakest, and I was available. There were smaller, weaker kids around. I lived in a neighborhood, but they weren't available. There were other people available, my brother, my parents, other adults, but they weren't smaller or weaker. I was. I believed there was something wrong with me. There was a reason that he did what he did to me. And there was a reason. And the reason was there was something wrong with him. You see, when another person hurts you, it's because they've done something wrong. They've done something they shouldn't do. When a parent abuses a child, the parent is always wrong. When my mother beat me out of temper, out of frustration, she was wrong. Even if I was misbehaving, it was wrong. Yeah, misbehaving, that's kind of what children do. Anytime a parent reacts to a child and hurts them out of frustration, out of anger, for whatever reason, the adult is wrong. If you were a child, if you were a teenager, if you were an adult and you've been victimized, you've been raped, you've been traumatized, you didn't do anything wrong. You really didn't. Victim blaming is big in our society, but I'm going to tell you something. I'm the naked fairy. And you know what? I would not walk out my front door naked because that would kind of be rude to people who don't want to see naked fairies running around. But if I did, and we have a fairly busy street, again, we're right by a park, but especially in this summer weather, a lot of people out and about. We have a neighbor that restores cars, and he's often out. If I walked out my front door naked right now, some people would like what they see, some people wouldn't. Some people would be shocked, some people would be amused. But whatever their reaction, anybody who touched me without my consent, anybody who assaulted me, who raped me, who physically attacked me, they would be wrong. It doesn't matter that I'm naked. They would be wrong. Let me say that again. They would be wrong. If you've been assaulted, if you've been hurt, if you've been traumatized, if you've been abused, if you've been raped, it wasn't about you, and it's the other person's fault. They are the ones that are in the wrong. Now, that doesn't make it easy. Even knowing that it wasn't about you, that you didn't do anything to deserve it, that nothing, you can't change people. You can talk to them, you can interact with them, but ultimately our emotions and the decisions we make come from inside ourselves. You can't change people, and you can't make them not do hurtful things. It wasn't your fault. Because as painful as this can be, it wasn't about you. There's a small part of you that wishes it was, because that makes you feel like you had some measure of control. And you didn't, and it sucked. But it wasn't about you. Yeah, you have to pick up the pieces and live with the mess. But how someone else reacts, how someone behaves, that's on them. When they behave badly, it's on them. I have to tell you that as an adult, nothing aggravates me more than another adult justifying something by going, well, they did X. I'm sorry, that is third grade playground behavior. He hit me. Well, he hit me first. No, he hit me first. Well, he shoved me. Well, he kicked me. No, you're an adult. You choose how you behave. Nobody made you do anything. Nobody makes you feel anything. Your feelings come from inside of you. If you're feeling inferior, then you need to work on that. And that sucks. Because if you were abused as a child, wow, you have a lot of inferiority issues that you've had to deal with, and it's not easy. And it does make you want to take everything personally, but it's not personal. You're not to blame for the pain that other people cause you. You are absolutely not to blame. And when bad things happen around you, when you have a reaction to something someone does, it's your reaction. Even if you've been hurt, it's still your reaction. For a lot of years, I did not have relationships with anyone larger than me. My cousin had been literally twice my size. And I avoided big people. And I tried to stay big. Worked out, very butch for a while. But that's not what it's about. Avoiding big people didn't magically make me safe. What happened to me sucked. Really, really sucked. What my mom did, what my cousin did. It shouldn't have happened. They were wrong. They were absolutely 100% in the wrong. But it happened to me, and I have to deal with it. And as an adult, you have to deal with the messes other people have around you. And you have to deal with their bad attitudes and their bad behavior sometimes. And it helps to remember that even when you have to deal with the fallout, it's not about you. It's not about you. And I hope that helps. It does help me when someone behaves badly toward me, when someone does something hurtful to me, to realize that, yeah, they were an ass, but it wasn't because of anything I did. They were just an ass. So hopefully this helps you. And whatever, please remember, whatever's happened to you, whatever hurt you have endured or lived with, it was not your fault. Because while clothing may be optional, consent is not.